If you're struggling, I want you to know that it's okay. And I hope that you are encouraged by what we read and learn from the scriptures. And we're going to read in Genesis chapter 32 about an account of a man named Jacob. His name means heel grabber. And his whole life, he had been operating in his own strength, right? All of the blessings that God wanted to pour upon him, he kept on trying to access in one way or another in his own strength, in his own power. But God absolutely, utterly shakes his life and turns it upside down. And I want you to know this is something that we can learn from today, not just as a good philosophical lesson, but as a lesson that has actual life and actual power to transform us when we take careful heed to it. So let's check it out. Jacob, he's about to have an encounter with his brother Esau, who he thinks is going to kill him with the 400 men that he's bringing with him. But overnight, the night before he encounters his brother, in the most difficult night of his entire life, he wrestles with God. All night long, he's wrestling with God. And then God touches his hip and dislocates it. The very thing that Jacob was using by his own power to try to procure those blessings, God took it away. And then God said, "Let me go, for the day is breaking." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." Now, this is one of the most important spiritual lessons that we can understand. If you are struggling, if you are a believer in Christ and you are struggling spiritually, I want you to know that this lesson that we can learn right now is learned in the very next verse, in the very next thing that God says to Jacob. God says to Jacob, "What is your name?" Jacob says, "My name is Jacob." He confesses his name. He confesses that he's been a heel grabber. He confesses at this moment he's been operating in his own power. And then God says, "You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed." Now, this is an important lesson for you, because if you have struggled, and you haven't prevailed, keep pressing into God. It says that God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. First, you have to confess your condition and realize, "Lord, without you, I can do nothing. Here is your servant. I am ready to do whatever you will." And then God will bless you.